Ladies and gentlemen, Chuck Todd is leaving, has been fired, forced to resign from NBC News. Chuck Todd will depart NBC's Meet the Press, and he'll be replaced by, I believe, the host from the Trump town hall. I'm not exactly sure, which that'll also be amusing. But here, Associated Press, Chuck Todd leaving NBC political panel, show Meet the Press. This is very, very interesting for a number of reasons, and here's why. Whereas Don Lemon and Chris Cuomo and Brian Stelter and others who left CNN or were forced out of CNN, whereas they, in a way, tried to pretend to be apolitical or objective, but were, of course, in the most overt and blatant manner, a mouthpiece for the Democratic Party or a megaphone for the Democratic Party, Chuck Todd, Meet the Press, was always a pretty middle-of-the-road, apolitical, objective show. Like in the 90s, late 80s, it's been around for a while, or 80s, 90s. But now you have every single show on television, even the main stations, NBC, CBS, ABC, they're all linked in some way to the Democratic Party's message on any topic. Chuck Todd was, let's try to be generous here. Chuck Todd was always a Don Lemon, Chris Cuomo, Brian Stelter, Chris Hayes type of individual. He was always a megaphone for one political viewpoint. However, he desperately tried to be seen as objective. See, there's really very little difference between, for example, my channel, which is purely my own viewpoint and opinion and analysis and discussion about topics, political, other topics. You know, if you're watching H.A. Goodman on YouTube, you're getting my analysis and viewpoint on politics. Okay? You're getting somebody who used to be the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post, and the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post, who now has become a very passionate voter for Donald Trump, because Trump presided over record low poverty. Fact. Zero rebuttal to that. We had record low poverty. Poverty has increased substantially under Biden's administration. That is also a fact. Real wages were up under Trump. Real wages have consistently been down under Biden. Trump brought Americans home from 2 theaters of never-ending military conflict. Okay? The Doha Agreement, and there were other things that Trump did to bring Americans home. His own Pentagon and DOD lied to him, by the way, regarding one of his efforts to bring Americans home, but that's another story. Trump tried to reform a very corrupt system. And when you realize that Bernie Sanders was railroaded by the Democratic Party, never even addressed it, doesn't address the fact that poverty is up, and we had record highs in household median income with Trump. Anyway, look, there's a million reasons why I'm voting for Trump. But the point is, Chuck Todd was always this, he tried to be this apolitical, objective intellectual. I think he failed miserably at doing that for a number of reasons. He never once acknowledged any of the accomplishments within Trump's administration. Just like, it's not like this isn't unique to him. He's just the same type of individual. There is no difference between Maddow, Hayes, Chuck Todd, Don Lemon. Chris Cuomo's better now. He has his own show, but like Brian Stelter, they're all the same people. The editors and journalists and reporters at the Washington Post, New York Times, MSNBC, CNN, The Atlantic, New Yorker, New York Magazine, Rolling Stone, Vanity Fair, Esquire, Mother Jones, The Nation, Daily Beast, they're the same people. They're the same people. That's why you should hit subscribe to this channel right now. My Patreon is below. Super Thanks is below. I used to be one of those people. I used to be that type of person. And then I said, well, there's so much tribalism and there's so much groupthink and an inability to see reality. I'm not going to... If Trump didn't do a good job as president, I wouldn't be voting for him again. He obviously did an excellent job as president. The economy is how I judge a president, not the media meltdown. I don't care when I refuse to vote for Clinton, and I think Hillary will be the 24 nominee. I can't imagine mashed potato brain still as the nominee. I got hit pieces written about me. It's like, well, the vitriol and venom is because there is a cult. If you deviate from the cult, oh my God, it's the end of the world. And Chuck Todd was a part of that. It's interesting. There was one exchange between not John Brennan, Lord Brennan, James Clapper. James Clapper was on Chuck Todd. James Clapper. And Chuck Todd desperately wanted evidence on Trump. And this is everything you need to know about Mr. Todd, formerly of Meet the Press. And this would only happen in American politics in this day and age. You had Chuck Todd desperate, trying with everything he had to find if there was any evidence that Trump worked with the Kremlin or was an operative of another country. So what he did was he went to James Clapper and said, is there any evidence that exists that Donald Trump worked with the Kremlin? James Clapper then immediately said, we don't have any evidence, direct or otherwise, that Trump worked with the Kremlin. The underlying theme was we're still going to investigate him even though there's no evidence. Okay? But then he said, if you can imagine how hilarious this is, if you did have evidence, would you let people know? It's on YouTube. You can watch the exchange. It's the most pathetic exchange between two people who are very influential within. I mean, a major host on a big station, big network, and President Obama's top intelligence official, director of national intelligence. It was, do you have any evidence? And James Clapper saying, no, we don't. If you did, would you let people know? Yes, we would, but we don't, but we're going to investigate anyway. And that's all you need to know. That exchange is all you need to know about how the entire American political establishment is leveled at Trump. You don't have to like his personality, but it's not right and it's not moral. It's immoral to continue to persecute Donald Trump because you don't like him. Okay? You have private servers that Clinton had that were illegally transferring top secret data and classified data. That's a criminal act. Whether the honorable director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation or, others can't find intent is irrelevant. Of course they know it's not legal. Nobody on the planet Earth could do that. Nobody in another country could do that. You think that would be allowed anywhere in the world? There would never be. There's not one government official on this planet in any country that, over 180 countries on the planet? There's not one government official who would be allowed to have private servers. And if they were found out, it would be a big, big scandal and they would be sent to prison But you think Chuck Todd cared? No. You think anybody at any of these publications care? No. That is not, from a cybersecurity perspective, impossible. You think Hunter's laptop, the holy grail of criminality and corruption, you think if Trump had that Trump wouldn't already be in prison? You have an entire system covering for one political party. It's like you'd have to be an imbecile not to see it. But Trump still perseveres, and he has a very good chance of regaining the Oval Office. Chuck Todd is out. It's actually a pretty huge paradigm shift in American politics or media right now. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Thank you so very much.